In this video, we are going to discuss about CRISPR and take a basic overview of what this system actually is. We see CRISPR stands for clustered regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats. It is a naturally occurring RNA-guided adaptive immune system found in bacteria and archaea. Its main function is to provide sequence-specific defense against foreign genetic material. This includes viruses, particularly bacteriophages, as well as plasmids and other mobile genetic elements. So essentially, bacteria have their own immune system that can recognize specific genetic sequences and defend themselves against these invading elements. And importantly, CRISPR is not a human invention. This is naturally occurring immune system that evolved in bacteria and archaea. Scientists later discovered this system and learned how to harness it for applications such as gene editing. Now let's move on to the different classes and types of CRISPR systems. As you can see in this table, CRISPR systems are broadly divided into two major classes, Class 1 and Class 2. First, under Class 1, we have Type 1, Type 3 and Type 4. For Type 1, the main effector molecule is Cas3, which is responsible for targeting and degrading the invading genetic material. Then we have Type 3, where the main effector molecule is Cas10. And finally Type 4, which involves a variety of Cas proteins and is somewhat different from other CRISPR systems. Now moving on to Class 2, we have Type 2, Type 5 and Type 6 in it. These systems are particularly important because they use single large effector protein. For example, Type 2 uses Cas9, Type 5 uses Cas12 and Type 6 uses Cas13. And this is the one we are particularly interested in, Type 2 that uses Cas9. Type 2 CRISPR systems use Cas9 as their main effector protein. Cas9 is an RNA-guided endonuclease that can recognize a specific DNA sequence and cleave the target DNA. And this is especially important because this Type 2 CRISPR-9 system is the system that has been adapted by scientists into powerful gene editing technology that we use today. Now let's take a closer look at the CRISPR array. As you can see here, at the beginning of CRISPR array, we have the leader sequence. Next we have the repeats shown as R in the diagram. These are short conserved DNA sequences that are repeated throughout the CRISPR array. And in between these repeats, we find the spacers, shown here as S1, S2 and S3. Unlike repeats, each spacer has a unique sequence. Now getting back to leader. This leader is non-coding region that helps initiate CRISPR transcription and also plays an important role during the acquisition of new spacers. Second is repeats. These are short conserved sequences that are repeated throughout the CRISPR array. And in between these repeats, we have the spacers, shown here as S1, S2 and S3. As indicated in the diagram, each spacer is essentially a short piece of DNA captured from a virus that previously infected the bacterium. So these spacers serve as a memory of past invaders. But for CRISPR system, we also have the invading DNA. So if we look at this diagram, we have the invading DNA also. And in this invading DNA, we can see a protospacer and PAM. A protospacer, as you can see in this diagram, is the target sequence in the invading DNA that matches a spacer in the CRISPR array. Whereas the PAM that's next to it, that's protospacer adjacent motif. It's a short conserved sequence adjacent to protospacer. It is essential for Cas protein recognition and cleavage. And this part forms the invading DNA, protospacer and PAM. Now the other part is the CRISPR locus from bacterial genome as shown in the diagram. It has got leader, repeat, spacer 1, repeat, spacer 2, repeat, spacer 3 and so on. So you can see in this diagram we have got the complete CRISPR-Cas system. Its key elements, the invading DNA part and the CRISPR locus, that's the bacterial genome. And you know that what the leader sequence does and repeat sequences and spacer. Spacer is the memory from the past infection. So this forms the CRISPR-Cas system. Now moving forward, let's see how this system actually works. First we have a virus infecting the bacterium. The virus injects its genetic material into the bacterial cell, and now we have the viral DNA inside the bacterium. If we look at this viral DNA, we can identify a particular sequence called the protospacer. This is the sequence that will eventually become part of bacterium's CRISPR memory. So this short piece of viral DNA is captured and stored in the CRISPR array as a spacer. And if we look just below, we can see exactly where it goes. The CRISPR array contains alternating repeats and spacers, RS, RS, and so on. The newly acquired viral sequence is added as a new spacer in this array. So what happens next? The CRISPR array is transcribed, producing CRISPR RNA or cRNA. And you can see this in diagram. The CRISPR array gives rise to these RNA structures. This cRNA contains the sequence information that was originally obtained from the virus. Next, the cRNA associates with Cas protein such as Cas9 here. So now we have the Cas protein carrying this guide sequence that can help it to find the matching viral DNA. And this is where the real defense happens. If the same virus attacks the bacterium again, the cRNA guides Cas9 towards the matching sequence in the viral DNA. Cas9 recognizes it, targets the sequence along with the required PAM, and then cuts the viral DNA. And as shown at the bottom, the invading viral DNA is cleaved and destroyed. So if we follow the whole process in one line, virus infects. Then we have the viral sequence is captured, stored as a spacer, cRNA is produced. cRNA guides Cas9 molecules. The same viral DNA is recognized and cut. So this is the basic concept or idea behind how the CRISPR-Cas system provides adaptive immunity. I hope you like the video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Do consider supporting my work on Patreon or YouTube, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks.